if he loses to Missouri this week.
Missouri, who had a pretty good showing against Florida,
They
not
did.
offensively. I think,
But neither did Florida.
They
Florida,
did.
no offense. So
Right. I think Florida kind of shot themselves in the foot more than Missouri played a good game. I don't really see a problem for Tennessee here. Missouri's defense is not what it looked like against Florida. I think they get torched a couple times through the air. Tennessee should win this one pretty comfortably.
Yeah, another 4-interception stat. James Franklin threw 4 interceptions against Florida, who has a better defense than Tennessee, but Tennessee has shown that they can be a ball-hawking squad this year, so something to look out for there. Missouri's leading rusher has only been averaging about 30 or 40 yards.
Yeah, they don't
per
run a
game,
whole lot.
So that's something that worries me. And frankly, Tennessee, they have a much better offense and much better athletes. So I think this is one to put in Dooley's win column.
Right. I think this will be a much more intriguing basketball matchup than it is a football.
Yes, it will. So what do you think about Dooley at this point? Do you think he's going to keep his job or not?
I really don't know with Tennessee at this point. I think if Tennessee thinks they can go out and hire a big name, they'll dump Dooley at the end of the season, but I really don't think they can pull anybody else in. I think they'll probably give him one more year, and they'll use this entire year to try to work on somebody, see if they can get him over there.
I've been hearing a lot of chatter about Gruden, but we've been hearing that for ever since Fulmer got fired.
Gruden's got the perfect deal.
Yeah,
I don't think he leaves.
really don't think that one's going to happen. Let's move on to Mississippi State at LSU. Another night game in Death Valley. LSU obviously coming off their best performance of the year. Zach Mettenberger starting to heat up. I think he's going to have to stay hot in this game against a Mississippi State defense that is better than people think.
I think so. I think the 14.5-point spread is way too much. Although I do think Mississippi State's really going to take this last loss to heart. Losing to Alabama the way they did, you can understand that. Number 1 team in the country, really good athletes. Losing to Texas A&M, though, as badly as you looked,
I know how that
Texas
feels.
A&M,
Auburn knows how that feels.
I think they're on the downward trajectory. I just don't really think they can do it, but it really pains me because if we were picking against the spread, I think I'd pick Mississippi State. I don't think it'll be a 14.5-point game, but I think LSU wins another boring come from behind or just at the last second win.
Yeah, the key to me in this one is I think Mississippi State's going to have trouble running the ball. Ladarius Perkins, that's pretty much the only running option they have. And to run effectively against LSU, you're going to have more than one guy. You're going to have a little bit more talent.
I don't think they'll be able to stop the run.
No, I don't think they will either. I think LSU's stable of tailbacks will be able to take advantage of that and open up some opportunities for Zach Mettenberger to continue improving and really, like we said earlier, night game at Tiger Stadium, tough, real tough.
Especially with that grizzly-looking fullback. Did you see that guy?
Yeah.
He's 280 pounds.
He's scary. And then he got a little bit of a questionable late hit call there on one of those plays, so, he's playing a little bit on the edge.
He is. That was very questionable.
Yeah, I don't know. Questionable calls tend to follow Alabama around. That's all I'll say about that one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take LSU in this one.
Okay, I'm going to take LSU. Like I said, if we were picking against the spread, I'd probably take State, but I'm going to pick LSU since we're going straight up.
All right, we're going to take another really quick break. We'll be back to talk about the rest of the Pick 10, update the standings here on Outputting Our Coverage.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand.
All right. As promised, we are back here on Outputting Our Coverage.
And we're keeping Andy off the ledge because we're about to talk about the picks.
Oh, strap me to a bungee cord, please.
Right. Now, one thing I did want to talk about is as we're looking back over who picked who, everybody's seeming to pick the same picks.
Yeah, real creative guys. Come on.
It is
What are you doing?
It is not a good idea to listen to the show and pick like we're going to because we have proven that does not work. And actually, that's part of our plan. We're just picking poorly so that you don't cheat off of us.
That's exactly right. That has been our plan all along.
We went, as a group, 0-18 on the Texas Tech, so yay us. We went 18-0 with the Florida picks, 17-1 in 2 or 3 games. So
I can't believe nobody picked Texas.
Nobody picked Texas. There's no love for Mac Brown and the Texas group. But this week we had 3 people pick 9-1 with Drewby Snacks, Bama Fan 1, and Ribeye. All picked 9-1. We had a group of 8-2, which Larry Baker Antica and Max 2011, who is still just way out there in the lead. And then Andy, you're with a group at 7-3, and I was with a group at 6-4. The only one who did worse was the Swamp Thing, big Florida fan. I think picked with his heart this week and went 4-6. The overall standings, Max 2011, I don't know that he can be caught, is at 75-25. Really, really solid year so far. Bama fan and Garrett Burke and also Ribeye are tied with 68-32. A couple games back, they're all tied, so really tight race for second. We've got a grouping there with 1 or 2 losses between them. I'm in 9th. You are in 13th. You are steadily moving up the charts.
All right.
So come catch me.
All right. Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left in the show to talk about these rest of the Pick 10 games, so we'll try to move through these. Written out here, but basically what I'm going to say is not betting against Kansas State the rest of the season until they play Alabama.
Also, TCU only won by 1 against a very middle-of-the-road Western Virginia team last week. I think Kansas State pretty handily. They'll have their quarterback who had a little bit of an injury scare last week, so Kansas State.
Yep, Kansas State there. Your favorite team, Louisville, possibly going to be losing an offensive coordinator here at the end of the season,
man.
so I'm sure they're worried about that one, but they got to play Syracuse first this week.
A 4-5 Syracuse. I'm going with Louisville. I can't pick against them.
Syracuse, I am probably the only person in the country that will say this. Syracuse, best 4-5 team in the country.
How about that?
Yeah, they've had losses to very decent teams. Very decent is about the best I can say.
What you just said was they're the best sub-500 team in the country. That's not.
Well,
they should put that on a banner somewhere.
I think Syracuse at this point might be proud of that. I don't know. Louisville,
Auburn would be proud of that.
Yes. Louisville has had many close calls this year. But if you look at an interesting stat, they've had twice as many rushing touchdowns as Syracuse has had. You know, I'm a fan of the rushing game. I'm going to take Louisville.
And Louisville's passing game's looking great. Their quarterback had 5 touchdowns last week.
Teddy Bridgewater.
But here's how you know the national respect for Louisville. Louisville 9-0, ranked 11th in the country. Syracuse 4-5. The line is 2.5 points.
Yeah.
So
wow.
There you go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are a little concerned about the way Louisville's been winning its games, but wins are wins.
Wins are wins.
That's how it is. All right, moving out to the Pac-12, Oregon State and Stanford. Oregon State's been proving us wrong over the past couple weeks. We thought they were dead after Sean Mannion went out, but the specter of In-N-Out Burger just keeping that team going.
I'm never going away from an In-N-Out Burger. It is some really good motivation. I'm taking Oregon State in this one.
I'm going to take Stanford. Stanford is only allowing 40 rushing yards per game on average. Oregon State, admittedly, a very pass-oriented team, but I just think the magic runs out here.
Yeah, Stanford hasn't really played anybody in 4 weeks since they lost to Notre Dame, and they barely beat Arizona, who we saw is not a really good team. So I don't know. I just don't trust the trees.
Pac-12, always a toss-up. We'll see.
It is.
Taking Stanford there. Finally, in an ACC pseudo-pillow fight, Wake Forest at NC State. I don't think we've talked about Wake Forest so far this year.
I think that's a good thing.
What do you got?
The Demon Deacons have lost 4 games. They've lost to Clemson badly. They lost a close game to Maryland. They lost to Duke by 7. Got blown out by Florida State. So that kind of tells you all that you need to know about Wake Forest. They're still kind of the same Wake Forest, just picture of mediocrity. North Carolina State's going to be remembered for beating Florida State in that squeaker 17-16, but since then they've lost to North Carolina and Virginia in back-to-back weeks. The loss to Virginia says everything that I need to know. I'm picking Wake in this one.
Picking Wake, huh? All right. Basically, the best way I can describe any team in the ACC at this point is temperamental. You might as well just flip a coin in this one because who knows?
Right.
Who knows in the ACC? NC State's been a little bit interception-prone this year, but I still think I'm going to go with them.
Okay.
There's really no logic behind it. These are the things you can point back to next week and say,
good call, bad call.
This is why my picks turned out to be 3-7. So
there you go.
We will see what happens with that one. Real quick, I wanted to talk about the mustache.
Right.
Real quick.
And since this is radio, you don't know this. It is already getting very nice.
Yes, I started basically a week ago, November 1st, for Movember, which is the word November with an M for mustache.
Right.
And the idea behind Movember is that it was an organization started in Australia to raise funds and awareness for men's health initiatives. There's a lot of an awareness for women's cancer, things of that nature, which is great. The month of October, breast cancer awareness, pink. You saw it in the NFL. Good stuff, but men got to be healthy too.
They do.
Mustache, great conversation starter. People ask you, hey, what are you growing a mustache for? I start telling them about it. I actually have a website on Movember.com. If you search for my name, Andy Lawton, you should be able to find me or my team, Magnolia River. You can donate money to me, to anybody you find on there. It really doesn't matter, but it's all going to a great cause: prostate cancer, testicular cancer research, other men's health initiatives. So really good stuff. I'm posting pictures of my mustache there periodically, but gotta say I'm liking it so far.
Now, you did this last year, right?
Actually, last year I did a no-shave October, mustache-tober, and I was not affiliated with a fundraising effort, so I feel better. I feel like my whiskers are growing faster this year because they have a purpose.
Well, we will let you know that on Twitter and on Facebook. Don't worry, we will be posting these pictures.
Yes, we will post a link to my Movember page. Always exciting stuff going on here on Outputting Our Coverage.
Last thing real quick, the number one recruit in the entire country decommitted from Clemson today, and when reporters asked him about it, he said he is no longer talking about recruiting ever to anyone. What do you think about that, Andy?
I think we already knew that he was kind of a prima donna. His brother goes to Ole Miss,
right.
So a lot of people
he's had 4 visits to Ole Miss since he committed to Clemson.
Yeah, but also his mother has said that she's pretty high on Alabama, so I would definitely keep them in the mix. This is just another reason why I'm going to stop paying attention to recruiting so much. It's just too much drama.
Yeah.
Too much drama. We will see you next week here on Outputting Our Coverage. Thanks for listening in. Enjoy Saturday.